Lebetkin, the Rabbi from another planet. Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring the little bell. Ring the little bell so you're notified when new videos drop. And I have to tell you, my expectations have been subverted. And funnily enough, not in an awful way. Okay, well, this is a review of a recap and review, a detailed recap and review. I've watched it so you don't have to. Although it turns out you're not taking your life in your hand watching this. As a review of Picard Season 2, Episode 1, The Stargazer. So I had every expectation this was going to be absolutely awful, and I still kind of feel it's going to be. I feel, if I may quote Star Wars, it's a trap! I feel it's a trap. Or I feel, if we're going to quote Mad Max, that's bait. That's bait over there. Yeah, that's kind of what I feel. But this is a very Star Trek-y episode of Star Trek. And I'm amazed. I'm absolutely amazed. Why am I amazed? Well, Season 1 of Picard, as I said, was awful. It's very, very clear. They wanted to do the most non-Star Trek-y thing possible, right? And then slap the label Star Trek on it, which is kind of what they were doing with Discovery. And they then found out Discovery was tanking and Picard needed to work. So then they retrofitted a bunch of member bearers into it. You know, that Romulan Warbird, I think 7 of 9. You know, I think people would recognize they kind of just, and it was bad. All of it was bad, and none of it felt like Star Trek. Again, you shouldn't have crack addicts living in the valley. You know, it just doesn't really work. It doesn't feel very Star Trek-y to me at all. And that's how I expect it to continue. But my expectations were indeed subverted. And it just seems to be a really satisfying continuation for the character of Picard. So I don't understand. Is that again? I think this is a trap. I think it's going to get super, super obnoxious. But who knows? I mean, listen. I try and go into things with an open mind, which I understand is very hard when we've been burnt as much as we have. But, you know, I don't know what to tell you. Fine, before we get into the review, can you hit the like button? That'd be freaking awesome. Can we hit the share button? Even awesomer. Amazingly so, even awesomer. Like, share, subscribe! Oh, please, that'd be lovely. Okay, that'd be lovely. Listen, this one wasn't such a nightmare to review. Discovery is, okay? You should just subscribe. Even if you don't watch my Discovery reviews, you should just subscribe because I do it, okay? Because I do that, and I feel like I earn my money. Not that I'm monetized, but I earn my money with those ones. So like, share, subscribe, comment, let me know what you think. Really do let me know what you think. And subscribe to my Substack, my email newsletter. It's in the video notes down there. It's I send out like news of my of all my content which I put out, and comic strips as well. I think I'm gonna start a WhatsApp list as well if you want to join that. Basically, just trying to find different ways of getting me constantly into your life, which I understand. Many people want. Many people want a lot. Fine, so like, share, subscribe, comment, Substack. Here we are. Star Trek Picard, Season 2, Episode 1, The Stargazer. Next time on Star Trek, The Next Generation. So, okay. A good piece of advice that can often backfire is living in the moment. Living in the moment is a very good thing to do, right? Living in the past, living in the future, distracts you from life. Living in the moment is a good thing, right? However, living in the moment can often get you kicked in the nuts, right? So living in the moment with this, right? Taking this out of context. Not even out of context. Let's say this is the first thing I saw after the first season of Discovery, which I thought I liked the first 9 episodes of. I liked Harry Mudd. I liked a lot of it. It ended in a dance squid, but I could live with it. If this was the first thing I saw after that, I would have loved this because it was the continuation for the character of Picard that I wanted, right? So I'm really happy. PD Rich said it's the 23rd century alert, not 21st. You are correct, but this has become the classic. But here's the thing: it's made by people who don't know Star Trek, right? But so you get this opening sequence, which is freaking awesome. It's like great Star Trek. It really is. I feel the same way watching this. I felt watching The Mandalorian. Like I couldn't unclench that it was gonna like go. It's not great, but like there's this great part in Swamp Thing where to get his help, he this demon Itagun does it in exchange for a flower, so he can plant this flower in hell, and it's kind of a crappy flower, but the more people see it, right, the more people that it makes everything around look worse, right? So this is I don't know if I'm just like amazed. I don't hate it, but it seems this still seems like the best. Anyway, it starts off awesome pre-title sequence. Alert, intruder alert, right? You got Starfleet security, Starfleet uniforms, right? You're in Starfleet uniforms, clearly in Starfleet corridors, feeling like you're in the middle of attack, right? And it feels like fraud. It's really kind of you feel their tension, right? And you do get this like explosion. Well, that's quite good as they like lose internal gravity for a second. Oh no, internal. I can't remember what it is. But yeah, so they're rushing to and the lights going off, right? And it's got this like little bit of a Saving Private Ryan thing because they're being summoned to the bridge, right? And the door opens, and they go in and pew pew pew. There's like it's Borg, right? It's Borg. It's got that green Borg attack thing, phaser thing. And it's an incredible fight scene, right? This is as good as Star Trek's been. This feels very movie Trek, feels very Next Generation, but it feels like again move forward. It feels modern. And now we first see a character we recognize. Was it Agnes Girati? I think is her name. And they do sideline the character tonight. You see Picard on the bridge of a starship, right? And it's awesome, right? I love it. It's like, what are we going to do? You hear something saying, don't fire. What are we going to do? And you look over, and you don't really register it at first, but it's it's the captain from last season, Rios, but now he's in a Starfleet uniform. And you're like, what? Is this like a Kobayashi Maru? Is that like, what's going on? You're like, you don't, is this, and like, he initiates a self-destruct, right? Initiating self-destruct, and then it goes to white. So you get a new title sequence. In the new title sequence, you see this new Borg ship, which is pretty good. It's like about DNA. There's a lot of foreshadowing about time. Time is being talked about a lot in it. It's Picard being Picard, and it's Star Trek Picard. Fine. So it starts off very much like what's that? Doctor Who, right? Doctor Who. Rusty Davis. You see space, and then you zoom down, and you get the Picard Ranch in Chateau Picard in France, right? So not France. And you hear like, I think time is on our side. Time is on, and it's like very much that. Time is on our side. And he's eating grapes, and they have this whole nice. He's happy. Oh, everything's good. This Romulan woman is giving him the eye. Totally giving the eye. He's like looking at his wide. Oh, I'm happy in the world. Yay! Everything from the last season is over. I'm relaxed, right? So she's got the hots for him. Her husband got killed in the last season, I think, and they like spend time together. They say, "Oh, l'chaim." Him saying l'chaim is weird. Okay, him saying l'chaim, I just felt weird. And she's like, "Dos Vidania," and then he goes to "Cheers, big ears," which I thought was a bit funny. So it's he's saying this has just been one of the best days. So she's so then she says something in Romulan, which is seize today because tomorrow is not guaranteed. And it's a reference to her husband that they drink. And she clearly wants to go to bed with him, right? Clearly. And also the Torah is not guaranteed. It's very clunky, obvious foreshadowing. So, like, again, this is like his friend's ex-wife, so he feels weird about humping her, I think. Widow banging, I think is the expression. But she's like, Romulans love passionately. Then we honor that love by loving again, even more passionately. She's saying she's going to shag your brains out, okay? She's going to be crazy ponfaring you, baby. She's all holes are open to access, okay? That's what I'm trying to tell you, okay? And that's his response. His response is, I can't, right? I can't. So they nearly kiss, and they like miss the moment. I think they nearly kiss, but he doesn't go for it. He's like freezes, and she's like, I'm gonna go. He's like, oh shit. And he thinks back. You have a flashback sequence to him being a boy, and he's wearing a stupid hat, and he sees this atrium, and you see him like remembering, and he's like in there with it. It's like a dream sequence. He's remembering his mother and this room they made together, and he looks at the glass they painted, and like, let's make. Then she's like, let's paint it. She's like, yeah, are you going to be shouting and scary here? Then you see like a whole like scary montage where she's like doing weird stuff. And then she says, no, maybe I'll shout, but maybe, we'll talk together. And she says, look up to the stars. And then she gives him the, says, look up, let's see what's out there. That's where, I think that's where it comes from. And that's where his love of space comes from. Meanwhile, out in space, I think, yes. We have this starship, and it's great. We actually see starships. But there's a spatial anomaly opens up, and you're like, oh, what's going on there? Meanwhile, the next day, Picard is feeling somewhat bad about not ponfaring clearly the very hot woman who wants to have sex with him. All right, Picard, mate, you're a robot. Okay, you don't need Viagra, mate. You could just go there. I mean, I don't know. He's very uncomfortable with sexuality. And he's like, I think we should talk. Nah, listen, I'm too old. It's not going to happen. Let's just move on with life. And he's looking for this book. He's like, thank you for the book, which is an interesting book, which find out later. But I have to tell you, this feels like a retired Picard to me, right? It doesn't. It feels like he's too old to make this. He's too wobbly. But it feels this feels like the same character again. If you watch this in the moment, right, and you watch it and just for itself, and you forget season 1, and if you get the age of wokeness, if you can do that, and it's very hard, right? I think it's all about living in the moment, especially when you realize it's going to kick you in the bloody arse. That's exactly what's going to kick you in the balls, I think, right? Which I'm pretty sure it's going to say. So anyway, there's this kind of awkward weirdness. And he's like, yeah, I feel bad about that. Anyway, so then he goes to Starfleet Academy. And it's very Star Trekky. I like it. And he's giving an address at Star Trek Academy saying, time is now the new final frontier. And lots of moments that are going to be used in trailers, like lots of sound bites. And he gives a rousing speech for the new class and it's got her in that. I can't remember what her name is. She just annoyed me. Now this guy Elnor is now the first fully Romulan cadet in the academy. What? There's been nobody since Savick who was half Romulan, right? Okay, so it's him now. He's in Starfleet Academy, and they're all very proud. And he gives a speech. It's rousing, and it feels like Picard. He's in bloody uniform. Yes, thank you. It feels like they just listened to everything we bitched about and they've delivered it. So, I feel like it's wrong to bitch, right? Especially as it wasn't that bad. It sounds like it's going to get woke, but right now they've answered every problem so far, right? And he's like, boldly go when no one's going to be like, whatever. Anyway, we're on the La Serena, which I hated that bloody ship. Okay, we're on that La Serena. And on there is 7 of 9, and she's like, there's these 2 pirates, hijackers or something. She's fighting them, and they're talking another. Oh yeah, so he's got a hologram with her on there who speaks. I don't know what language. And she fights them, and I think one's a Klingon. I'm not sure, but they're trying to steal medicine for the Fenris Rangers. It's okay seeing her. She's kind of hot. Yeah, would you? Yeah, of course. Absolutely. I mean, listen, if we're going to say 7 or 9 action, that will have to be with Susanna Reed. I like the opposites. Okay, I like the opposites. So she has she turns off the safeties on the hologram. He like knocks one out, and they're tied up, and she puts them on the transporter pad, and they're transported out somewhere, maybe to space. We don't really know. And so she just has the hologram there. She sees about subspace absorption. There's tachyon fluctuation and massive Hawking radiation. So she's like, "Oh, let's go see what it is." And she's like, "Oh, that looks very Borgy, very Borgy." Meanwhile, in Raritan 4 in the Beta Quadrant, and again, it turns into an episode of Star Trek. It's incredible. I'm just blown away by this. So we have Cersei in it, who I like because she's very hot. And she's having a diplomatic dinner with these aliens, being very charming and very hot. Meanwhile, she's with this was it Agnes Girardi, this doctor who's hit on by this guy who's from The King and I. Maybe he looked like Vulcans from Star Trek 1. I don't know what he is, but he's like, she says, "Look, I'm a mess. I've just been cleared from killing my boyfriend because I did that under control of an alien." He just says, and she's drunk and she's not really up for it, I think, right? Then he runs away and they talk again. And we got to see a long shot of Soshi and a bit of side boob. So that all works. That's all very good. Liking the side boob. Very good, very good. And she beams up, and now she's on stage. I like she's slightly drunk. That kind of, see, not long ago, well, that's not Star Trek. That's, no. I like them doing silly things like that on Star Trek. If there wasn't such animosity with the current Star Trek, I would be fine with it. You know, if they had a boozy doctor turn up on bridge, I'm like, that's funny, okay? And they need her, and she's not Starfleet. So anyway, so Rios is the captain. You're like, what's going on? He's a captain on a starship, and it's a real starship. Again, it feels like a starship. It feels like you're in the movie era plus 20, right? Or plus 15 or something. And he's acting like a captain, and I like him as a captain, and they're in uniform, and it feels like bloody Star Trek. I don't know what to tell you. And for some reason, she gets an equal seat on the bridge, and they go and see you go and see what ship they're on, and he's the captain of the Stargazer. Like, you think it's going to be the Enterprise. I'm like, oh, don't be the Enterprise. That's embarrassing. No, he's the captain of the Stargazer, which was Picard's first command. And it's a cool looking, it's a Star Trek looking ship. It's a cool looking ship. I go, poof, to start, next gen's out of there. Meanwhile, back at Starfleet Academy, what's the name? Apparently, he's the commandant now of Starfleet Academy. And then this character says the word arsehole is the only thing that jars you into current day Star Trek. But it's fine. I can live with that. That's fine. I just kind of glossed over that in my head. So she's getting. Oh, you hear the people are being assigned their starship, and there's SS Sulu mentioned, and then there's Excelsior. Elnor, the Romulan kid, is assigned with him to the Excelsior. She wants to keep an eye on him. And basically just have a bit of a nice character moment. And he talks to Elnor, and he's like worried about being the first Romulan. So he gives him this gift, right? Which is the book he was looking for earlier. It's a first edition book that was written by Spock about being the first Vulcan in Starfleet Academy, which he said, which I think is the perfect gift. And again, when Discovery uses Star Trek, I feel it doesn't understand the thing it's using, right? I think it's just floundering in the dark and has no clue, right? This feels like it understands the characters. So I'm on board so far. And there's this bit in it where he says, there's a quote there that says he finds the assimilation data or information is made better by the exhilaration of challenge. He said, basically, let your hair down and enjoy yourself, and you learn more, right? So they seem to be kind of like just getting rid of all the crappy characters, sidelining them. This season, I'm like, okay, I'm about 20 minutes in right now, and I'm like, I got nothing to complain about, right? And that's the truth. I have nothing to complain about without being a dick. So anyway, the Stargazer shows up at the Spatial Anomaly. And again, it looks like Star Trek, and it's a decent direction. I like the special effects direction. You know, I bitch about things when there's something to bitch about, but I'm still like unsure because this feels unusual, right? So they arrive at the Spatial Anomaly, and they're looking at. Oh yeah, so he smokes. I'm trying to get a picture of that. He smokes on bridge, right? So I don't know. There's a lot of problems with that. They could be like synth holograms, cigars. There's got to be some regulation way that they could work it out, which I could live with. You know, like there's got to be some kind of explanation for that. And if they don't say it, then put one in your head can, right? If you don't say it, then say, oh, it's a hologram cigar then or something, whatever. But I like that the captain. I like the captain is unauthorized. See, this is a captain that I like. This is a crew that I like, and I'm interested in, right? So they're there. They're scanning it. They're like, what's going on? Oh, and she's like some kind of genius doctor. Like she's vitally there for their mission, so she can basically flout any rule. And they say, okay, we got a transmission coming in. Oh, 709 shows up. Said, hey, what are you doing with my ship? So apparently she now has La Serena, and she's been using it for her Fenris Rangers stuff, right? So okay, that's essentially what's going down there. And he's like, oh, it's got loads of dents on it. I said, yeah, I get in the fight. What can I tell you? So they're all there investigating the anomaly. They're looking at it again. Feels like Star Trek. I hate to tell you, it feels like Star Trek and the Spatial Anomaly. I like it says Spatial Anomaly there. Really? Spatial Anomaly. I mean, again, it's a sort of stupid thing I like on Star Trek. So they're scanning it, and they need her to decipher there's like a big comes through, and they can't decipher it. So only she can do it for some reason, because she's like super scientist. Well, I don't know why she's there. It just feels like that's the sort of thing that it would be. She's some kind of super scientist that looks after Sochi or something on diplomatic missions. Anyway, so there's this signal come through, and she said, "What is that? A language?" He said, "No, there's actually lots of languages, right?" And so she tries to put it together, and then suddenly then she realized the language is saying, "Save us, Picard! Save us, Picard!" But it sounds kind of Borgy, right? It's cool. So you're intrigued in the mystery. Meanwhile, Los Angeles, Picard beams down. I always enjoy seeing what life is like in Federation space. Which is, again, last year you had people smoking and swearing, and it didn't feel like the Federation. This feels like Federation life. So he arrives, he goes and looks at, where is he? He's on forward. Where is this place? Let's see if I can read this. Forward Avenue Historic District. Does that tie in to Times Arrow, you think? I don't know. No, he's in the historic district, and he goes. He smiles. He looks where he's going for. There's a club called 10. So 10 Forward, maybe. Oh, it's called the Forward District. So this is 10 Forward. That's the name of the club. He goes in, and Guinan's going to be there. And I have to tell you, Whoopi Goldberg, massive dick, who said things that have annoyed me over and over and over and over and over again. Right, more so recently with the Trump derangement syndrome, like whatever has annoyed me repeatedly. I'm happy to see Guinan because it feels like I'm seeing Guinan. Right, I'm happy about it, and it's nice. Right, it's soothing. I just think this is a trap. I think it's a trap. I don't know, but it's lovely to see guys. So they go, they talk. And they go and have a drink together. And basically, he needs to talk to her about his love life. Like, he just rejected this woman, right? He couldn't go for the woman. To look, Mama, raving anti-Semite. I understand. I don't think she is an anti-Semite. I really genuinely don't. I think that she's bonkers. But I listen, man. I look at people positive. I don't think she's an anti-Semite. I really genuinely don't. I don't know. Anyway, so you see him guiding them, right? And he's talking about love life. Say, listen, it feels felt closed off to me. Like, I don't know, I'm not able to go for it. I've had sex before, I've had relationships, but never. I've always had my career instead, right? I just don't know what to do. And I was like, well, schmuck, then go. Explore the final frontier, right? But I think that's actually what she says. He says, like, it's just too late for me. So that it's, and she says it's not about time, and it's more foreshadowing about time. It's very clunky. Obviously, they're going to be doing that stuff about time. He's not, and so she says, look, you're not afraid of exploring anything, but except what's in here in your heart. Like, what happened in there? Why have you spent your life alone? And that's a good question for the character, right? I mean, one of the things that I found interesting about Sulu as a character was firstly, he had a wife, weirdly, because he had a daughter. I always thought Sulu was very gay, but whatever. But I like that, right? And so there's a very good question, and he can't answer the question, which is also interesting. Like, I like that, right? I do like that. Have the drink. Anyway, that night at in Chateau Picard, Starfleet Admiral turns up and says, "Hi, we want to chat. Hi, I'm a stunningly black woman. I know you said Admiral, obviously." And he goes, "Okay, we found this anomaly in space, and we want you to go there. Why? It's calling for you." Okay. He's like, what's going on? And he's like, here, we want you to go there. Your hands in the badge. He's like, okay, then I'll strap it back on. And he's like, well, what's going on is it's it's a intelligence clearly asking for first contact. We define this as Article 15. People want to join the Federation, so it's and they're calling for you by name, and they will only talk to you, and they can open a hole in space and time, right? So we would like to have good relations with them. As he's flying off, the Irish woman, she's Irish. The very hot Irish Romulan woman sees him fly off, and I hope they end up banging by the end of the series. Okay, so anyway, his shuttle it's a great shuttle shot as well. Shuttle shot shows up and it docks with Stargazer, and again, I went Star Trek, but it's new and it's different. I'm happy about this. And 709 is there to meet them because they're such old friends, obviously. Now, listen, they established their old friends in last season, so I can't really argue with that. All right. But again, this just feels. Look at this. Picard walks down a corridor in what's clearly a Starfleet ship, right? It feels like I'm home, right? It just feels right. Anyway, I love they're talking, they go in the corridor, and then they go to the bridge. And when he gets on the bridge, they use the perfect use of the movie theme, like you just hear it playing background. Da, 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 da. Is that one? I think it's that one they use, right? And it's Rios is there, and he shows them around the ship, and it feels like he feels like Riker. It feels like it should have been. It feels like a Riker substitute. And I like him being a Riker. Look, John Frederick was great. He was very, very nervous about it. He felt like he was old, and he just didn't want to do it, right? So as he's there, the anomaly like hails him personally. First he's saying hello to everybody, and then the anomaly hails him personally. And like, wait, what? What's going on? Picard, save us, right? We hear him say Picard, and like, what? It was like, what's going on? And it's the screens start going crazy, right? And it says we don't have any time. We've got to beam our representative on. She said, no, you're not allowed to beam on. No, they didn't say it would beam on. First, you hear them saying Picard from the rift, and all of a sudden in the rift, he's like, red alert. Out comes this brand new Borg ship, right? And it's like calling Picard, and they're like, whoa, this is not good. So then, look at this. This is a bad picture of it, but we have all these ships warping in, and they listen to us from last season. Look, they're all different, right? Everybody hated people the ships all being the same last day. They have listened to the complaints, and I think it's dickish not to recognize that. They have absolutely listened to the complaints, right? And it's cool. You have all these ships warping, and they have this huge armada amassing because the Borg are here, like a new Borg ship. And what's the names here on the Excelsior, so they can put them in the action, I guess. So they have the great ready room scene where they're talking about what to do, and Heaven Line is like, we got to attack right now. We got to attack. And 709 is like, yeah, she's like, and then but Gerard is like, well, we don't know who they are or what they want, right? We have no idea. They could be our best allies, so but we need to know what to bloody do now. And 709, we got to attack, right? If you don't do it now, you're never gonna have the chance again. He's like, well, I think we have to see what it is. So anyway, they start hailing Picard, right? And said, we need to start negotiations with now. We need to plead our case. He's like, what? He said, yeah, we need to plead our case. And then the thing opens up and the Borg starts coming through. And he's like, whoa, red alert. Well, they're all on red alert already. So you got to fire them right now. So they start trying to beam through the shields, right? And they're using super strong beam to do it. And you think it's a Borg queen about to come in. They manage to beam through the shields, and you get into. And now we're up to the beginnings part, right? The pre-title scene, which was awesome, freaking awesome, right? And like you have intruder alert, and this thing appears, and it's a whole new Borg, right? It's really cool. It's like this Borg. It's got like this blank clockwork face. It's really freaking cool and creepy. I like it. I really, really, really like it. They said, but so first, we need to talk. But first, they require. They go, you require what? They require power. And it's where is it? These massive spikes come out of it. Where is it? Bang! Goes into the panels, and it starts straightening the Powhatan ship and taking control of it. So, and because that ship is built with partially Borg technology, right? So, bam, 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 and it's great action sequence. They're all, and 7 lines are firing away, pew, 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 pew. And the security comes in, starts firing at it. But it fires back, right? So yeah, we have a great firefight, a great phaser firefight, and then you're ready at the beginning where it says, don't shoot, because they realize that the Borg is only stunning the people attacking him, not killing them, right? But people just keep firing. So what should we do? And then Picard says, was it? Oh, first, yeah, more of a good firefight. The firefight goes on for a while, and it's not like a crappy one that we've seen in the current year, right? It's like a good Star Trek one, right? It's like it all works. So they're like, what do we do? And Picard says, initiate self-destruct sequence, right? He's like, yeah, self-destruct, and he gives his code 001, Picard destruct 0, whatever. And what was it? And then was it just before, right? Just before the Borg Queen says to Picard, and he goes, "Look up," which is exactly what his mother said to him. He's like, "What? Look up," right? And then the ship. Oh, by the way, what's going on is hacking the ship because it's full of Borg components, and through that ship is hacking the whole Armada. Right? We have to control the Armada, and it blows up, and you get this big explosion. And screen goes to white. Then it's black again, and Picard wakes up, and he's very, very disorientated, right? Like, what's going on? And he's in that like atrium house again, and the sky's all messed up. We'll see it more in a minute. It's like trying to work out what's going on. He calls to like the Romulan woman, and like he sees a sword there. He doesn't know what's going on. He's got this weird Star Trek Delta. Like, look at that. That's just weird. Like, and he's in this weird militaristic uniform. I'm not sure. So he's trying to comprehend it. In walks an android, and him having an android is weird. And he said, "Would you like coffee?" He's like, "Where's the was it Larissa?" He's like, "I don't know, Larissa." And then Q turns up, right? And it's really kind of good, right? Yeah, it was all young Q, and he said, "Oh, I see you all. Let me catch up." And it becomes old Q. And then what's the last thing I said to you? I said the trial never ends, right? Said you've been talking about having second chances. Well, you're going to see what the absolute end of the road not taken is, right? And then and so they're in an alternate universe, and the sky is broken, and it was like this fascist future they're from. So here's what it sounds like. They have to go back to 2024. Yes, they have to go to 24 to save history from not becoming a fascist future, right? So it sounds to me, and this sounds just too obvious, right? I can't believe it'll be this obvious, right? It sounds to me that they're going to do a thing that if Trump, obviously Trump-like Trump, wins in 24, it will enter the age of the evil age of fascism till the end of time, right? Is that what they're going to do? I mean, really, it seems so obvious that's what they're going to do. It's 2020. I'm like, oh, God. And this was good. I want to tell you, this was good. Was it good or was it not bad? I don't know. Here's the thing. I don't know. Was it good or was it not bad? At least I can say it wasn't bad. I've just been, listen, I've been very, this is what I feel like. I feel like a battered wife whose husband has just come with chocolates and flowers and been really sweet. Okay? That's what I feel like. So I'm a bit edgy about it, right? I'm a bit edgy. But there you go. There you go. I'm really genuinely amazed. Genuinely amazed. My name's Tzvi Lebetkin, the Rabbi from another planet. Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring that little bell. Ring that little bell so you're notified when new videos drop.